Yo, this is King Earner coming to you guys live and direct. First and foremost, go follow me at King Earner official page. This is the Circle of Honor podcast. Y'all know how we carry it. Listen, I'm going to keep it a stack with y'all. The podcast isn't officially together yet. We got some beautiful cameras. We got a lot of support. I want to thank Black Poppy because that motivation, that honor, it's in him. And sometimes you need the energy of someone else that's honorable, because there's other honorable men around the world. These brothers just happen to have the purest of honor. And when a brother has like that type of honor, that give you that motivation and say, listen, I'm going to show you some love and with support and honor, you got to move with the purest of honor, because as men, we stand on standards. And those standards is always being able to stand with sturdiness. Today I have an honor. This is going to be my first interview with the Circle of Honor podcast. It won't be on all websites and stuff like that, but it's going to be just about everywhere, all over my platform. And this is Kibuwani. I probably said his name wrong. And I want to let everybody understand, this is like my cousin, family. And we grew up as kids together. He come from a life of the past, what I used to live. We happen to be the individuals that didn't try to get down with different gangs and different people and run around the street. But I'm going to let him give you his name fully and give you his social media. And then he's going to go right into exactly what it is he bringing to the people. And I'm going to back his play 1,000%. Go ahead, brother.
My name is Kibwe Bomani. K-I-B-W-E Bomani. B-O-M-A-N-I.
That's on Instagram.
On Instagram is Kibwe Bomani Braxton. And on Facebook. On TikTok it's just Kibwe Bomani. And Kiwe means blessed warrior in the tongue of our ancestors. Well, I want to congratulate King Earner for allowing me to give me the opportunity to speak today on here, because I know he be promoting stop recycling crime. So I'm here to elaborate because I'm a product of crime. I grew up in crime. And unfortunately, I just did 23 years in the penitentiary. I've been home 2 years. All praises due. So I'm like a poster boy for stop recycling crime. You see what it says?
Section B.
This here say destined for greatness. I done put that all in the past. That's you live and you learn. And that's a process. So where I'm at with it now, my whole thing is about sharpen others, still sharpen, still helping the youth. That's my main part. I would love to help the youth sit down and mentor, like Hov said. Hov went through that, so hopefully they ain't gotta go through that. So my little brother, my little cousins, they shouldn't have to go through everything I went through. And I'm not here glorifying nothing I went through. I look at it now, just all a blessing where I'm at now. So with the experience I went through, I can help other peoples. And that's how I look at it, because, I don't want that to seem like I'm glorifying crime or nothing. No, I ain't looking for no fame and that. I'm doing this from the heart. And, growing up in crime, I came close to death many a times. Right in the middle of you see right here, point blank range, I was shot in the head at 17. 90 days later, in the shootout, get shot, paralyzed, So, I was ripping and running. And how some people say, like, jail saved some people. And I'm one that I can really believe jail saved me. And I'm not, bigging up the system or nothing, because I don't promote the system, and it need to be abolished from the rip, the Department of Corruption. But in that prison, I was blessed to be around some real soldiers, some real men. And I learned certain things. I started to learn culture. I started to learn myself. I started to learn life. I can honestly say that I believe I started coming to a man in the penitentiary, just to start to learn life and see how things operate. And it was like an epiphany, because like you said, I was a product of crime. So growing up in crime, everything that I seen prior to going to prison, it was normal. And then So when I came to prison and started studying the culture of Islam, when I was seeking, looking for God, and I was like, damn, in my hood, I'm thinking about where I come from. And that shit was like, it was an epiphany. It was like mind blowing. Like that shit seemed normal. And that shit, because I had parents that didn't know how to be parents, because their parents ain't taught them to be parents. And I don't hold no ill will to them. And that's the cycles that been perpetuated in the ghettos. And like I said, I was blessed to be a product of that. And now I could break the cycle. And that's where I'm at with it. Just trying to give out and give back. I destroyed these communities, this city, Philadelphia, and this is my way of giving back.
So when a lot of people hear me speak, they hear me speak of stop recycling crime, but a lot of them be on Section A. Section A involves the individual who committed crime and then says, you know what? Look, I'm not going to prison. They don't hold themselves accountable. They hold others accountable that they was in crime with, and the government gives them a lenient way out, give them a 5K1 motion, boom. And some people who are in the state, they don't get a 5K1 motion, they get leniency. When Keyboy says what he says, he does it in a manner of giving you understanding he's a product, he's a poster boy for Stop Recycling Crime, Section B. That's me and him. Other individuals also who are in and out of jail, just in and out of jail. You go in your cell and you recycle crime in your own head. I'm gonna go right back and I'm gonna do it 100 times better. But what we don't understand is that there's someone else with a brain, just like it was millions of individuals, like our ancestors, and people who were just into wrong thing, because our ancestors wasn't. We were forced to the wrong. So when we went to the wrong, we didn't take accountability amongst ourselves by being disciplined men and saying, you know what? I'm not going to recycle. I'm not going to go back home in and out of jail and keep doing crime. So I understand him, but I got to say this. I've seen a lot of individuals come home from prison. I never expected for him to go in a direction that he went into. You know, the reason why I didn't is because of the mindset. You know, I know he'd been in the penitentiary, but you have to realize from us coming up to the ages of 18 and 19 years old and then going to jail, we started going, we knew each other from the streets and his family, but at the same token, prison gives you a different outlook on things. And I swear, I could never think that he would come home and do the right thing. So I'm proud of you for that. A lot of people don't get a brother their flowers. They say it, they talk it, but they really don't. Somewhere in our community, there's this thing in our hearts where hate comes about. When another brother see you doing good, it's like a judgmental thing because of who they actually used to be. And it's like, because you're still in that state of mind, or because you haven't reached the understanding that this person has reached and a discipline, they begin to point fingers. And I swear, a 9 to 5 and doing the right things, and even looking for odd jobs. He can have a job and he'll say, yeah, I see this going on, I'm gonna go ahead and get that coin too. That's big coming from where we come from, you know that. So y'all don't know it. And a lot of people are gonna have that mindset like, you know, I ain't trying to hear that. This is one of them people. A OG say something to him, he's against it. What? I'm not trying to hear it, whatever, we take him where we need to go to. And, you know, I was uncontrollable, a lot of people said. But sometimes he will cut the corner very uncontrollable. And we're not here to brag on that, but we're here to get an example of what he was just saying. What he bringing to y'all is him rebuilding what he once destroyed. That's heavy, coming from a mindset and a heart where if someone, whoever it was, it could be someone blurting out something, he was the guy to say, man, shut the F up, ain't nobody trying to hear that. Loud and clear. We talking about from the juvie to adult system, and we don't have a lot of young black men coming home from the joint. Everybody comes home, try to throw another brick at the penitentiary. But we have to have a mindset when you look at the brothers like Meek Mills, Black Poppy. These brothers are doing legal things with their content and who they are and earning. Even Leak Moss. You see what I'm saying? When we look at these individuals, we think of, wow, how can someone go straight as they are going. But a lot of people don't have understanding that we all been through something. Because you see what I'm doing now and it's all the way legal, doesn't mean that I didn't go through a struggle. You've been through that struggle. How did you do 23 years in the can and come home with this mindset?
Like I said, I started being around, I met some good fellas in there. And they turned me on to different things. It's like now society, as I see coming back, reconciling with society, it was called networking. And I met some brothers in there and they gave me some material to read. And then they opened my eyes. Then I started writing poetry. I'm a spoken words artist too. I'm a spoken words activist and a motivational speaker. That's something else. But I write poetry. It was one of my hobbies before I start writing. And eventually y'all will see I got something to make it come out. I don't want to talk about it. I'd rather be about it. But that time there meeting certain people, and the most important thing all was getting the knowledge of myself. I started running across information that I had no knowledge of. I started learning things about myself I had no knowledge of. And then I just wanted more. I always loved to learn. I just went left. So learning and constantly growing really kept me solid in it because I was open-minded. At the same time, I had a fire though, like when I became to know my history and started learning about the Black Panthers, the East Coast, the West Coast, COINTELPRO, how they use that to divide and conquer. Once I started seeing the truth, how they play puppet masters and turn us against each other, I was leaning more to the George Jackson mindset, Che Guevara become revolutionary. I did make changes in certain institutions with other inmates banding together, whether it was hunger strike, filing submission, filing petitions in the courts and things of that nature. So I took that mentality on. And unfortunately, I was doing a lot of time. I was doing 40 years max. So I became a lifer in reality because I realized once I got in there, there's no guarantee I get out. And being around life, I started to move and think like a lifer. And I got proactive, revolutionary, and I'm learning all this material, everything new. It was like I was like a kid in a toy store. I see this, I read this, and oh man, then that connected, and that, and I'm starting to love my folks. I'm starting to love Black people where it taught me to love myself and learn people. And I started seeing the struggle when we went through, like I said, the divide and conquer game that the higher ups use and throw into play and keep us divided, whether it's Democrat or Republican. They was the first Crips and Bloods. If you look at history, one represent red and one represent blue. But that's another story. And I just start seeing things for what it is, like how my 5% brothers say, my third eye started to open. And so this learning, like in a whole where mostly people be destroyed, it strengthened me. The oppression in the whole. Because I had time to sit and replay everything prior to me going to prison. It's like, it's my analogy because I love playing basketball growing up. I played for my schools, summer leagues and all that growing up in North. So it's like I was in a game. And that's how I look at everything. The coach said I wasn't on the ball. I make niggas land me up. I wasn't playing defense. He set me on the bench, and that's how I looked at prison. And once he set me on the bench and being in them orange shoes and holes, I started studying myself. It was like looking at the game. Now I'm seeing the game. Or if I play his left, I could take the ball from him. Or if I box main man now, I got all reads. He soft, whatever. So I'm looking at the game. And so when the coach said, look, you guys ready? I go back in the game, I produce, and the team win. And that's how I look at the penitentiary. I got to see and learn new things, and I said, damn, there's another way. I ain't see no options. And that's what they do a lot of times. We don't see no options. We cut off other options, and we just give ourselves this one thing, and then we crash. So, but not to go on a long tirade, but the RHUs built me. And I met some Black Panthers, Russell Moon Schultz, rest in peace. I met old head brother Chad. These some real Black Panthers and was affiliated.
Right.
JoJo and all these. So I found their energy. I grabbed like the torch. I was grabbing some of that fire and I was reading, I was growing, and I was working out. And but the main thing was the love for my people, for Black people.
So we get an understanding that a person goes to prison. And I look at you as an individual that was in prison, but when it came down to things happening and a law, doing what was destined for you, you had to get locked up inside the prison. You was one of them individuals in order to really see what was going on. The justice system had served what they served, but it was like, hold on. You needed to be incarcerated inside the prison in order to find out knowledge of self and the hypocrisy of America and the judicial system and how it went exactly against our people in a way that a lot of us, such as myself, we understand, but we understand in the layman terms. You learned it in the terms where as though you can apply that law to you as a human being out here with discipline and actually be able to flow without dealing with negativity, because these rules and these laws, if you go back into our ancestors, you'll find out exactly. You mentioned George Jackson, won the life. You see what I'm saying? With no way out. When you look at it, that's how it was with you. No matter if you went in one day, 20 to 40 years, it's a long time. So that's really one day to 40 years.
And you don't even see it. Don't feel like you coming home. When you got a minimum or a numbers that's always basketball numbers, you don't think that far. You living in the moment. You feel like a lifer. But I'm going to be honest. I never really felt like a lifer. I thought like a lifer because I literally try to fathom what it feel like to die in it. And I can't feel that, but it ain't nothing I would want to do. And I can imagine how nobody didn't have a shot to get out really felt. Because no human being should feel like that.
Right. So when individuals go to prison, like me, such as myself, I'm considered, if you come against me, I'm carrying in a certain manner. You're basically, you're the individual who is like, look, I can do all this crime out in the streets, man. I ain't about to listen to you under your rules and regulations. When I get to understanding knowledge of self, then I'll guide my way out of here in a positive way where I can be in control of me. It's not about the parole system. It's not about the state. It's not about none of that. It's about what I found knowledge of and the direction and the goals that I'm going into. So when a lot of individuals see this is deep here, because we got a lot of kids running around. We got them starting young. I call him a different name, and I respect all my brothers that found out a lot about their ancestors. And the only way you can really support somebody, if you got honor and love for a person, you go by what they on. You see what I'm saying? It's like they're gonna respect and honor what you want. It has to be equal. So I'm not gonna call him no street names in here. So when your name, Keyway, when your name is mentioned, it's mentioned with some power, it's mentioned with some strength, it's mentioned with some honor. Break that down, and I believe that breaking that down, it can explain to who you molded into. Because the characteristics, even in Islam, it teaches us, if I see this person, I'm around them enough, hey, let me give them this name. So I'm pretty sure this name of yours, this is who you molded into.
Yeah, Keyway. One of the main reasons I took Keyway as a name, because it dealt with blessed. Now, in my eyes, it's deep because I was locked down on long-term segregation at Gassiard Green. And me and a knowledgeable brother I highly respect was Afrocentric. And he felt as though he wanted to name me. He said, I'm lucky. That's not blessed. And we had our difference of opinion. We disagree. So, but in my name blessed, because I'm going to take you back to the inception. When my mother was pregnant with me. 6 months, like when in her 2-hour pregnancy, she tried to abort me. I never knew this until I went to prison and I was in a hole and I was studying the knowledge of self. I started writing my mom and I'm asking things that I can't recall about my granny and all that. Just trying to taste my lineage. That's right. A part of knowing self. And she confessed to me that she thought this is what I was asking about, but I wasn't, that she tried to abort me when I was in her womb. I never even knew that. But it gave me inspiration. I'm like, damn, I looked at it like this, damn. I be deaf in the womb. It wasn't my child. Allah, the divine force has a plan for me. So I feel as though I'm blessed. Not only that, I'm blessed. I was shot in the head at point blank range at the age of 17. I'm blessed. A month later, I was like I said before, I was paralyzed, shot in the back in the shootout. I'm blessed, and it could go on and on. So that's why I really took the name Key West. And due to the same struggle and everything I just gave you about being shot and all that, it turned me into a warrior. From the penitentiary, fighting the COs, and then unfortunately sometimes we have to chastise our own people because they'd be a detriment to our lives. And so that's what my name is basically based on. It's somebody who I've grown into, I become, is who I am.
Now, I have a difference of opinion with a lot of individuals. There's a lot of people in the community that feel like, you know, a person who come home from prison, go in the correct manner, he always has it in the back of his mind about crime. You gave me that strength of understanding that that's not true. Being as though you're currently just coming home from prison. And it was a struggle for me also. Because at the back of your mind, it's like, damn, when a bill got to get paid, things get tight. What do you do? Because a lot of individuals, what kills me, and it's another episode of Circle of Honor, it's more towards stop recycling crime of the individuals who, because they got a bill, they say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to honor the RIS Act, and I'm going to do this, even if I just take the money. You are a prime example of people offering you probably the world of coming home. And I'm not speaking of negative, but I'm pretty sure you have been offered negative things. How are you able to deal with that? Because a lot of times in society, especially coming from us, we were spoiled with the street game. We didn't really have a bad family situation too. I mean, we had little ups and downs, but I'm saying, but for a struggle, how are you able to say, you know what, I can do it? Was it being as though you were blessed so many times and you thought about the can? Because every time I say it to you, like, hey, you scared. You always like, nah, it ain't even about prison. It's about me. How was you able to make it about you and not focus on trying to do what everybody else is doing?
Hey, it's deep.
You don't even know it.
No, it's deep because
Yeah.
when I got homies and stuff that's doing shit we was doing when we was 16 and all that. Right. And now I want to take on that. The pictures. I was in jail. I went to jail in 97.
Right.
I came home in 2020, did 23 years. I came out here. It was like the commercial with Common Sense. You got the whole world in your hand. Your phone. So I'm like, basically I'm learning things, and basically I say that to say this. It's too easy out here to earn $1 legally than play in the streets. I look at it like this. First of all, there's no right in doing wrong. In the streets where there's no honor and people playing for self-telling and rant and all that, it's no win. You don't come home and you don't know who's being watched. Right. And all that. And I just did this time, and these same individuals that want to do this thing did not for me when I was in there. So what I'm expecting them to do something for me now. So it's like it's too much ways to earn money out here without having to resort to that.
How do you feel about that though? I gotta stop it there. I know you got more, but how do you feel about going to jail doing 23 years and the same individuals that you ran with, hit the curb with, that you even tried? I even was telling you, yo, you gotta chill. You know what I mean? You weren't doing no crime, but you just wanted to, you felt good coming home. Hey, what's up? How do you feel about them same people being in the same place, in the same position?
I don't look down on them now because we all come from the same place. Right. But like I said, I was blessed too. I took a little psychology course. I ain't got no degree in that. And a lot of people, I understand them. I understand the psyche of addiction. I understand the psyche of growing up in poverty. I understand the psyche of not being able to break cycles and so forth. So when I look at these individuals and I see they like a hamster turning his wheel, right? I could come out, especially if I'm interacting, I can tell why they doing what they doing. And a lot of them haven't grown up. A lot of them like they don't leave their environment. There's a lot of things they play for, and they don't want none. They don't have that desire. They don't believe. They don't know themselves. They don't know the power that they have within them. That anything that their brain can conceive, they can achieve. And a lot of people don't understand that. They never study themselves. most of us deal with trauma. We've been traumatized, especially growing up in the ghettos. So
Right.
a lot of things I don't even look bad, and it's deep you say this, right?
Right.
You know, because I live in a nice little middle class section. I be driving, the day I was driving around, I see people out there in the cold and all that. That's how I can tell my growth. And I really felt something towards that, like, damn. But I understood, like, the life, like how life takes its tolls and it breaks people and people have, but it's just deep. It's just deep, man. And though at the same time, those I sting my hand, but if a person don't want their help, they don't want to be helped, they can't be helped.
So, you know, like me, I feel like it took me many years to stop wanting to hang out. A lot of people love to hang out, and there's nothing wrong with hanging out. The only thing is wrong with hanging out with a person that coming home from 23 years is the things that can happen in his environment that can harm him. A small drinking in public can send you back to the penitentiary after 23 years. Majority of it in RHU in the hole. And getting a chance of freedom and to throw it away just because of what? A person or a place.
It ain't even that. I'm gonna go deeper because I meant to say it last time when I started talking, but I went left. It don't even come down to it come down deeper than that. It come down to a choice because every choice I make gonna have some type of ramifications or consequences, and I have to live with every choice I make. The choice of me of picking up that bottle or hanging with such and such or allowing this person around me, I brought that because I made a conscious decision and choice. And that's a lot of things a lot of people not trying. We control our own fate. We can so control to do certain things. We make choices and decisions.
Right.
And a lot of times when we make these decisions and the outcomes ain't good, we always say, man, I want to curse. Fucking with that bitch or that nigga. They be on some, oh man, we quick to push and blame and only want to look at it like it was us. Until a person really understand that, they gonna bump their head every fucking time.
So I'm getting an understanding. I'm pretty sure that people are getting an understanding that when you come home from prison, a lot of things have to change. I'm learning this, and guess what? I've been home, and you got to look at this situation. It's a little different, and you can see God working it. In the can, same time, family, cousins, and I'm back after getting a blessing and coming home and coming back on somebody lied on me and said I'd done some stuff I didn't do. So I'm down for attempted murder. I go to trial and I beat it. He goes to trial and he loses and get 20 to 40 years in front of a judge by the name of Lisa Rachette. Let him go, Lisa was her name. Now, within those 23 years, it's now how many years? It's now, I've been home since 2010, and it's 2023. 13 years you known for me to really, you ain't seen me or hear about me going in and out of jail. But that whole time of him in jail, back and forth, I'm back and forth. But I didn't get the blessing he got. At the time you got sentenced to the 20 to 40 years, we talked, shed a tear and everything. He went up top. I probably shed a tear more because, you know, I'm more of a crybaby. But at the end of the day, I went through being a fool, being an idiot, continuing taking a brick and recycling crime by not being a Rizak, but just having a choice of making a bad decision of going back and forth. And he didn't, because he got what some would have seemed like the punishment. Now he's grounded about self, where individuals such as myself, I don't care how much legal and positivity we do, if we don't know about who we are, guess what? We're going to follow our own desires, because our desires, the lower ones, are easy to follow.
And since Dylan piggyback off of self, everything starts with self. Your happiness. I was taught that happiness is total complete satisfaction of oneself. Nothing, all that people chasing, all these mirages, it's all within, everything starts within you. You run out there trying to be happy or running to him, they can't make you happy. You gotta make yourself happy. Everything starts with self. I think it was either George or check out the revolution start with self. And the revolution ain't nothing but changing your old habits and creating new habits.
So at the end of the day, man, it was good for y'all to stop by. I want for everybody to make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share. Make sure y'all go follow. Give me information your Instagram.
Kibwe Bomani Braxton on Facebook and Instagram. KIBWE Bomani BOMANI. Same thing on TikTok. Minus the Braxton.
We here live and direct, and it's always an honor.
And it's love.
Again, it's the purest of honor. Make sure y'all tune in. King Earner live and direct.